My mother remembers the old village dances, when my uncle got out his squeeze box to play, and the people would walk for miles in the darkness, and dance through the night till the break of the day. Bit since I've done that. Well, it's been a very nice day. The sun's been streaming through the clouds. I've actually felt a bit of it on my face, which was, you can't tell, but it's very nice. I happened to call on a friend who was taking some trees down for a school while it's half term, and his help had let him down. I think it's the manner in which he was paid the day before, if you get my understanding there. And so he couldn't get out of bed or something. He didn't turn up. So me, being the willing type of person I am, I gave him a hand for a couple of hours and got a load of wood for it. That's all I wanted. When I say a load of wood, it's as much as I could fit in a Honda Jazz with the seats down. So it's not much. But it was well down to the axles, so it should, it's a fair bit. Anyway, I've talked before about the two words strung together. The words are flat and earth. Now, of course, hackles rise. It's a trigger. It's meant to be, of course. And people just, when you say that and then you'll say this, this, and this, and this about the flat earth, they just switch off. They think you're a moron, a mongo. And when I say mongo, I mean, you must have seen Blazing Saddles. Mr. Mongo, yes. That's the kind of intellect that the people who still believe in the spinning ball nonsense think that people who know the earth is flat have. Now, that was a bit of a convoluted sentence, but I think you got it. So when you say the earth is flat, flat earth, you may as well be saying Mongo love candy, because that's what they hear. So perhaps a better approach is to ask them, at what point does water start curving? Maybe just an idea. So at what point does, on a ball or on earth, does water start curving? Because that's a phenomena that has never been observed and will never be observed, because it doesn't happen. But it might just get them thinking, these people who, oh dear, probably still also believe that Elon Musk put a sports car in space. Yeah, well, I can't really help, if you've got that brain, if you've got that in your head, if you really think that, then yeah. And all that money and effort that goes into building all that bullshit for space, the satellites, the shuttle program, the rockets, all the so-called auxiliary nonsense that, like spacesuits and breathing apparatus and blah blah. Oh yeah, Pete Peterson, them two lads, you might know them. If not, check them out. They're great. They're just everyday honest people who look at the world objectively. What could be better than that? But they've actually, this is brilliant, and I haven't heard this before, so it's new to me, and what a great thing that they've come up with. And they represent this by saying, when you get to Everest, the air pressure is far lower. The ratio of things in the air is the same. yet there's very little pressure, or a lot less than on at sea level. And apparently, this again, this really annoys me, because I talk about space as though they've been there or it exists, but it doesn't. But the moon landings, for fuck's sake, come on. Anyway, the astronaut suits were under a certain pressure, and apparently, and then they would have to breathe oxygen, and apparently that wouldn't work. Have a look at their latest; it's very good, and then they'll explain it, and you will understand. But that is just another. Well, look, come on, you can't go somewhere that doesn't exist. But that is another. I'll say nail in the coffin, but that's not really the right phrase for the stupid Apollo missions. I mean, it just makes me sick to think that people still really believe that the Earth is a spinning ball and traveling at an enormous, rate, because we all are apparently. If you go by the heliocentric model, we're going at some terrific speed, a couple of million miles an hour or something. Yet we can go to the moon, not go. Anyway, and the moon obviously is not a sphere. It's not a big rock, spherical rock in the sky. That is just stupid. So, yeah, and all the nonsense that the different countries now have different space programs, just to, suppose, just for the country's overall ego. I don't know what it is, but it's all a big, massive scam, an international space nonsense. Anyway, so I got to thinking, there's a lot of money being spent, and maybe a lot of people being employed, and very, very few of them will know what really is going on. Although I have seen a few interviews recently of NASA employees or ex-NASA employees who say, yeah, we know the Earth's flat and it's all fucking bollocks. But there you go. But I still don't think many of them will know. I know some of them were laughing about the people who still do believe that anybody had been to the moon, and I find that, well, some ways reassuring, but in other ways quite sinister, actually. Just tell us. But they don't want to lose their jobs, do they? Because they'll lose their house, their car, and maybe their family. Because, certain demands are put on you when you are supposedly the main breadwinner. So all that expense, all that money that's garnered from the taxpayers, or robbed from them, really. And I was thinking, has that happened in the past? And of course it has, because all you have to do is look at all the places of worship. Just look at them all. The earth is bristling with them. And where did the money come from to build those places? Jumble sales, was it? Jumble sales, fundraisers, things like that. Well, so I understand, years ago, maybe 1,000 years ago, if you built a cathedral, a church, or a chapel, or a place of worship, maybe even a mosque, but I don't know about Islam. But let's just stick to what I do kind of know. In this country, Christianity, and it's all its schisms. You would maybe think you had a place in heaven if you laid a few stones on a monastery, or a church, or a chapel, etc. God would let you through the pearly gates. Well, that's very good of him. Or maybe you got paid, but you still went to chapel and gave money, collection box. And my point is, the space shuttle and a church, there's not much difference between those two things. They're both, you both have to have, for each thing to exist, you have to have a faith in the bullshit that they spout. You know, it's like the heavenly spheres and the Bible or something. You know, those two books that duped the world into two different two paths that lead to complete nonsense, and yet people, like the sheeple they are, were following and bleating away. God, as a Christian God or even a Muslim God, I would think, they're all the same. Jews, Muslims, Christians, it's all from the same nonsense. And I'm not trying to offend anybody, and I'm sorry if you are offended, but it's much bigger than that. Definitely there's a creator. There's definitely this is created where we are. It's created without a doubt. Life can't just suddenly spring from a puddle of slime. That's just, come on, that's stupid. If you knew how complicated a single cell was, then you would know that they had to be an intelligent design. So the intelligent design that makes all of nature so it's difficult to get along with in your head, because you know it's red in tooth and claw. Everything's trying to eat each other or trying to run away from something that wants to eat that. And the plants and the animals, they're all vying for space and trying to reproduce. Procreation is the key, the goal to everything's existence. So that's what it tries to do with a full stomach or otherwise. So so there's all these horrible creatures. Many of them are parasites. I think it's something like 50% of the creatures are parasites, meaning that they couldn't have a life without sucking the blood or whatever from another creature. And an all-loving God, would it do that? Or would he, because they say he, so I'll say he, would he do that? Is that loving? Is it loving that we can get infested with parasites? We have incredible receptors for pain, which are useful, yeah. If you feel pain, you know, that's hot, you get away from it. You don't sit there going. So yeah, okay, I can see the sense in that, but there's far more sinister implications to an all ever loving omnipresent God. He may be omnivorous as well. How could that, if he loves us all, truly loves us all, then why does he allow children to die, to get cancer, to get run over by a bus even? Well, he can't watch everybody. But he's omnipresent, isn't he? Isn't he everywhere and watching over us all? It's one or the other. Again, there's always conflicts, but they're both bollocks. Space and organized religion. It's the same thing. One's taking over from the other right now. Pseudoscience. It's all nonsense.